All right,
Folks.
here we go. So welcome to ETT Chat. I'm Greg Kulowiec. I'm an instructor with EdTech Teacher, and I'm joined this afternoon by Reshan Richards. Reshan, if you want to do a quick introduction.
Hello, my name is Reshan Richards. I'm one of the creators of Explain Everything, and I do a few other things, including teaching at Columbia University, working with master's and doctoral students. And yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a big fan of EdTech Teacher and the work that you do.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. So this is actually, I'm excited to have Rashawn join us this afternoon. I've been doing ETT chats for a few weeks, kind of on my own, demoing a few tools around the concept of collaboration. So what we're fortunate enough to have is Rashawn join us, and he's going to do a really thorough demo and kind of walk through, and we're going to be discussing the new collaborative whiteboard version of Explain Everything. So I think this is going to actually turn out to be a pretty interesting ETT chat and webinar, because Rashawn's going to be, ideally, if all the technology holds up, which I'm certain that it will, he'll be mirroring his iPad and kind of walking through what the new collaborative side of Explain Everything is going to look like. I will be here to do some kind of prodding, questioning, sharing some thoughts and ideas along the way, and hopefully we'll be here for about 20 to 30 minutes. If you want to share this with any of your colleagues or teaching friends afterwards, the link will be shared on the EdTech Teacher Twitter page, a Google Plus page. I'm sure Rashawn will have this pushed out through the Explain Everything channels as well. So, Rashawn, would you like to get us started?
Great. So let me, I'm going to switch over to my desktop. And I'm going to hide Greg. And Greg, can you just confirm you do in fact see two iPads?
Oops, sorry about that. Yep, I absolutely see two iPads up and running. We're good.
Okay, good. You must have been muted, because for a second I was like, I just broke computer and internet, but nope, just the mute button. Okay, so actually, you know what? For the first part of the demo, I think I'm just going to use one iPad. And I will use my main one. Okay, so now you probably should just see one iPad. And
Yeah, yep, perfect.
Super. So oh, my son is whining in the background. He really wants to come in here.
No worries.
So Explain Everything will soon be launching worldwide. It's already available in a few markets. An app called Explain Everything Collaborative Whiteboard, exclusively on iOS first. This is a separate app than Explain Everything Interactive Whiteboard, which is the app that has been out for some time and will continue to be available on the store under the same model as it is now. This is just a new app with all sorts of new things that I'm very excited to share with you. So one thing you'll notice, it's the icon in the lower right here that I'm about to tap. And what we've got here, let me see. Oh, let me put my do not disturb on. There we go. So I'm in the application now, and in general, there's three major kind of areas of the tool that that people will find. One is around, of course, being able to create things. The second is about collaboration, because it is called the collaborative whiteboard. And the third is about sharing and discovering ideas and remixable content that can be used in a community. I guess do not disturb didn't work. So you'll be seeing these tweet banners all the time. I'll keep trying to hide them as they come on down. Okay. So the project screen here is very similar to the interactive whiteboard in that you see folders and thumbnails and all sorts of other things. And I'm gonna hit the new project button. And in general, this type of logic and feel is no different than the designs that we had before that we think people enjoyed. A couple of new elements from the creating side and the whiteboarding and screencasting is just when you create a new project, you can start something off in portrait mode or in landscape mode. And what's new is we've included these background patterns, which you can choose from these pre-designed ones, or I could create my own background. I could choose, unlimited colors. These are just different ways to choose the color. And I can also set a foreground pattern, and it could be just a texture that's not that visible on this screen. I could do some dots here. Let me change the background to something a little more friendly. I'll just do this color. So those are some dots. Here's a grid. And these are zoomable, infinitely zoomable things that'll rescale vertical lines and horizontal lines. I'll use the horizontal lines here. So this almost looks like a piece of line ruled paper. So this is a project that I've started. It's got this background. Like I said before, it's still an infinite canvas that can be zoomed in and around. And for the most part, from the creation side, the interactive screencasting whiteboard side, the tools and features are things we know that people have found useful and helpful, and they continue to be present here. So in general, other than the white user interface, the structure of this screen is more or less the same. The hand tool, the draw tool, which lets me draw, chains of pen colors. I think we've just added one new shape. The more will be coming. We've now made the text tool so that all of the edits and stuff are done exclusively from the keyboard pop-up, which we think it'll just make less confusion than having it in two places. Insert objects, all the types of files and things that people like to use before are all there. This tool is kind of fun. Let me go to a new slide. So say, I've created some sort of scene. Oh, that was supposed to be a shape. Say I've created some sort of shape, scene that I like a part of, and I want to get a quick copy of it. This is a cutout tool, and it'll let me select just an area, and it'll just take a quick snapshot, preserving the transparency. But this became almost an image object, so it's not like it sees this as a drawing and a shape anymore. Where I think this is the most useful is if you do an insert a browser and go to my favorite photography website. So these are all open source images on unsplash.com. Mm-hmm. And if there was something that I like, I could quickly do this cutout. And now I've got that image and I can discard my browser. And I think that could have some great utility.
Right, a little bypass of the camera roll.
Absolutely. And if there's something that you're doing in research that you've come across a website that you want to quickly do, instead of doing screenshot from Safari, insert from camera roll, you could just quickly pull it out quite dynamically. The pointer, the delete tool, the inspector are generally all things that people who are current users of the app would know. And if you're unfamiliar, well, you can take some time to learn it. But I want to get into some of the really exciting stuff. Well, actually, no, this is the second level of exciting stuff. Just because this has been requested many, many times. Now, in addition to the preset colors, you can do this little plus button, and you could set and dock these colors that are usable beyond. But now there's also a dropper. So if I really liked this aqua color in this photograph, it's now going to be available on this menu of color palettes that I can use across different projects.
Great.
And then we've just made some updates to the slide sorter, so I can delete a bunch of slides altogether. I can't delete the master slide. I can just choose multiple things to delete and set the background too. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go back to my home screen. I'll discard that because we've only talked about. If you look on the left side, there's these 4 tabs that are in the middle. So right now I'm on the local projects. These are things that are saved on the device. Creating stuff locally, more or less the same. The next thing I'm going to talk about, though, is this collaboration piece. And let me try to switch now to my full desktop view. Oh, that's my face. Greg's face. 2 iPads. So what I'm going to do is I've got 2 iPads here. I've got my an iPad Pro and an iPad Mini, and I'm going to launch the new version of Explain Everything Collaborative Whiteboard here. So on my Mini, I'm going to start a project, and I'll just keep it real simple. Now there's this collaboration menu that can pop up, and I can actually access this by tapping the little exclamation mark in the corner of a project too. And what I'm able to do is call this chat at hat, okay? And when I hit start, right now my project is being broadcast so that other people can join. And I'm gonna go on my iPad Pro to the collaboration screen. And here's a thumbnail of the project that I can join. Now, if multiple projects were choosing to broadcast, then they would all show up here and I can join them. And when I switch to later, I'm going to show like the beta that's going to be the one that's released globally. We've actually also introduced a way that you can do code-based sharing. So you don't have to, this way you can just share the code for who you want to join as opposed to having it broadcast. So iPad Pro now is joining. And so you're seeing not a mirror, but two separate iPads that are sharing the same content. So I'm going to first draw on my Mini. And this is pretty cool because I'm actually doing 2 different AirPlay streams on my local Wi-Fi network and doing a video conference, sending that stream over that Wi-Fi network to you, Greg. And at least from my end, there's like 0 lag.
No, it's holding up. If you could do me a favor, if you could number your Mini, number your Pro, so when you're talking about each one, we know which one you're actually doing the work on.
I could do that, but the number is going to show up on both screens.
Of course it will. So maybe we'll just talk. Maybe we'll just talk left and right.
Left. Okay. So let's see. The one. I was going to write this one. Oh, here. Let me do this. I'm going to do. Oh, I can't do that. Let me do this.
Because everything's live and collaborative.
Yeah.
So we can't.
Let's see. So I'm going to do a new photograph. Let me see if it'll let me do this. And do a picture of my.
Oh, geez.
Oh, no, wait. This is making things worse, isn't it?
Right.
Okay. All right. That was a terrible idea. Let's pretend I never did it. Yeah, never mind. Let's ignore that.
Okay.
Well, the one on the viewer's left is the iPad Mini. Oh, actually, no. You could see it because the one that has the little number 1 in the corner, that's the host.
All right, perfect. So the left iPad is hosting the collaboration.
Correct. So if I happen to have a third iPad here, I would join and that number would show up as 2. So everything that's happening on right now, I'm still manipulating the host, and I'll use my ambi dexterity here. So with my one hand, I'm going to draw on the Pro, and the other I'm going to draw on the Mini. I'm going to try to draw circles. Oops. And sorry, you can see how coordinated I am. Let me just do this simpler. I'll draw an arrow with one hand and a circle with the other. So I can manipulate these things independently, and it can all be captured in real time. Actually, you'll notice the host is the only one who's got the record button highlighted. Oh, I'm on an iPad Pro here. Let me move that over there. So that the host is the one who everybody, if the host hits record, all of what's happening on the screen gets recorded, but the host's microphone is what picks it up right now.
Okay, so I know you're probably going to get into this, but whatever the host is displaying, like that they have the field of on their iPad, that's the only thing that's being recorded. So a guest or a collaborator could be off of that or off of that kind of canvas area, but they could work, but it wouldn't be captured yet.
Absolutely. So let's actually split this into 2 modes: while recording and while not recording. So while not recording, within a project, I'm going to be on the right iPad now and go to screen number 2.
Okay.
So we're all in the same project, but in totally different parts of the project.
Right.
And when iPad 1 goes to screen 2, sure enough, the number's there. It took a second for the thumbnail to update. So people could be working each on different slides and adding content. Additionally, let's go to slide 2 here. The host, when using the zoom tool, right now when I zoom, it's controlling the view for everybody. But there's a second version of the zoom with this little red outline. Now when I zoom, the red outline is actually like the capture or the kind of, origin original level. So as the host, I know that, that place where the number 2 is kind of the frame of view. And you could see you can actually work in 2 totally different scales. As the host, I can hit reset and just get back to the original view. Now the participant, when they zoom out, I can't control zoom of all participants. I can only control my own zoom. So as soon as I zoom away, I don't know if you can see. You see how the kind of total control zoom is grayed out. I can only zoom my own view, knowing that the host is controlling that red outline. So you can be on different scales within the same slide.
So I almost see this as like the ability for, students to build like maybe a presentation together or do some like brainstorming, and then the host would decide later what's going to be captured to turn into the final video version of it.
Absolutely. Group brainstorming, whether it's on the same slide or different slide, is totally something that you can do. I mean, imagine you can import like a super high resolution image and have people working on, and it's marking up different areas of it. When say I'm going to go back to slide 1, and on the participant and the host, if the host decides to record, what's going to happen is all participants are going to be jumped to that slide and to that view. So I'm going to hit record. And oh, actually, no, not that view, just to the same slide. As the participant, you're going to see some stuff happening in that tiny little window, knowing that what's in the red is what's actually being captured. So if I knew, my next move in this, because this is my job, was to make the giant oval fly in, you can actually do some really cool like directions with stuff that's off the screen and appropriately make it come in depending if on how you coordinate that.
So now with that demo, now this makes me think this could be, this could turn into like almost a, I'm trying to describe the words for it, like a collaborative digital storytelling tool where you could make almost like short animated films with it, having people
Absolutely.
playing different parts.
Or even as simple as just short, why, if you're trying to share an idea, it doesn't have to be pretty, but like it doesn't have to be static either. That, if you're trying to illustrate a concept with many people, why not just have it kind of hit record and build it up and see what it looks like over time, as opposed to just kind of that final thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I'm gonna stop the collaboration, but before I do that, so on the left iPad, this is the host's view. Let's see what my view here. So I'll pull up the participant view as well. So you can do some like level controls. So the users who are joined, you can switch them to view only, or I could set that globally. So everybody's to view only, or everybody's to can edit. That's a choice by the user. When I stop the collaboration, actually, before I started, I did this kind of quickly. Do you see at the bottom of the participants where it says project will be saved locally? Mm-hmm. The host, when initiating the session, can decide whether or not at the end of the collaborative session, participants keep a copy of the project, or even if they choose to disconnect. So this way, you could start something off collaboratively and then break apart and still continue working on individual copies.
So question then. I'm sure this,
Sure.
maybe this was in your vision or not, but now this has me thinking, so add another layer to it. If you can say this is a view only tool, and then the host can switch from view to collaborate, I could almost envision this where a teacher might have preloaded a set of slides and then could say, okay, this is view only for now. I want all my students in the room to get in it. But now I'm going to swap it over to edit, and they could potentially do work on that all in one place. Can you toggle between view and edit with it once a presentation is pushed out, or no?
Absolutely. So if you were going to use it for like some short bit of direct instruction, and it was important for the students to be able to see it right on their screen, then you could certainly, as the instructor, walk them through the things you wanted them to do, but then release the control so that they can then, one, still work collaboratively on the project, and then two, after the session's ended, keep a copy. So yeah, for sure, you can toggle that mid-session. The other kind of important thing to note is that we don't talk about the project as being collaborative, but it's the session. So unlike a Google Doc, which is
Right.
this web-based artifact that you can do both synchronous and asynchronous collaboration. For now, at least, our synchronous collaboration is all around a session, a hosted session. Right now, designed to be people who are in the same room, in the same vicinity, working together. Though we certainly have big plans for expanding the variations on how that could look. All right, so let me. So we've talked about the creation aspect and the collaboration. I'm going to switch back to a single. There's Greg. Let me switch back to my single iPad, so I just can walk through a few more things. And feel free to chime in with any other questions or directions I may be giving some.
No, I mean, while you're getting that queued up, I'm just thinking like, it seems like it's purposely kind of unclear in terms of what people are actually going to do with it at this point. Like, it seems like how do you execute it in the classroom? But it seems like could it be used as a direct instruction tool? Yes. Is that like probably the highest level of use? Like probably not. But you could get students started on a concept and have them run with it from there if they can then save that project locally and then maybe start their own collaborative session, or like we talked about, this building a story together or brainstorming a project together and then kind of capturing the thought process later. But it seems like just in kind of watching it happen live, that it's going to be students and classroom teachers coming up with the kind of creative, exceptional ways to use this.
Yeah, I mean, so two things. One is the application is the whiteboard and the real-time collaboration and the integration with this content portal I'm about to show. But then so it's, some people, as they start to use this, might still tend towards that kind of single person interaction. And then once they kind of start messing around with the collaboration, start to see, probably those just familiar uses, things you can immediately think of, whether it's for direct instruction and release or everybody complete this worksheet together. That's not that exciting, but at least it's getting familiar with a different type of interaction. Our team, as we've been building this, of course, we've got our own ideas of things that we see as exciting and useful and with purpose. But even with the first version of Explain Everything, when that came out, we had our ideas, but we also kind of made it open-ended and put it out there in the wild and let kind of people and users who could gravitate towards that kind of very malleable, flexible type of tool and figure out ways to make it work for them. And then of course, Explain Everything's totally been driven by that user feedback. So, we've built this really cool, amazing, and I think almost never been seen, at least packaged in a single thing like this as far as the real-time collaboration. But what's most exciting is to see how people come up with how they want to use it for sharing ideas and knowledge and building things together. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm switching over to a beta version just to show a couple of other things. So we released the app in a few countries and knew that we wanted to, one, provide some people early access, but two, also just to make sure that if there's anything that needed ironing out, we ironed it out before the global release, which is many, many, many more places. So one of the things that this is really subtle right now, is in the top right. You see where it says enter invite code. That's where if I started a collaboration session and somebody didn't want it to be broadcast, that my trial is expired. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. let me switch away from my screen while I log in so that the explain everything company password isn't broadcast on the world. You'll see my face and you'll see me looking down.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Did I actually end that?
I can still see your iPad right now.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. Let me see. Well, actually, I have a better idea. Let me get off of the AirPlay. Okay. Oh, stop screen sharing. There we go. Nope, not hide participants. Okay. All right. So you probably just see a black screen, right?
Now I see you. Okay, perfect.
Oh.
Now you can go log yourself in.
Yeah.
So while you're getting the login set up as well, so you're going to demo now the portal to be able to send projects up
Correct.
to an audience? Is that the idea? And then could someone with the portal go grab content as well that's up there for, kind of like public use?
Yeah, so it's more set. It's if you're familiar with like the way Scratch operates, I look at that as a type of community to aspire to be like, where there's people can write programs in Scratch and publish them on the Scratch website, and the participant has two ways to engage. One is to play or run through the activity online, or they can actually download the source code and one, deconstruct how it was built, and then two, actually reuse and remix aspects of it. So that's the intention of the portal.
So would someone be able to go grab like the original project file, like the XPL file? Is that the idea? Or grab the video file? Can they get either one?
That is the idea, yes. So you can actually no, you can only grab the XPL file. You can view the video.
Okay.
Actually, no, probably from the web you can download the XPL. You can't download the MP4 unless you're signed in.
Okay.
So let me just see something, because I keep getting my trial has expired message here, which is perfect.
If you can't get in now, I think an overview or discussion of the concept like we just did, I think people could kind of grasp what the potential of the portal is. I know there were a few questions people had about like, how do you either access this, manage access to the portal? Like, I don't know if you wanted to discuss those kind of, maybe more like the logistics side of it.
Sure. So there's always the challenge of trying to make the deployment and management, especially when you've got something that's gonna theoretically have user accounts tied to it. So the first thing is that the portal is not meant to be a forced experience, that this is just an additional destination for your content. So we know people really probably have some good workflows with a Google Drive or a Dropbox or open into this LMS or other content platform. And our aim is to maintain those, or allow people to maintain those flows with the new application. The difference, sorry, typing in a complex password here. The one thing about the other things that are on the portal that are useful for people is the way that the licensing is now going to work. In that one, when you have an Explain Everything license, you can log in to any of the apps. From any of the platforms. So if you have the Chromebook, Windows, Android, and iOS version, that you don't need to buy that 4 different times, that you would just have it once and be able to access it anywhere. You'd also be able to access your content that's on our portal, if you've uploaded it there, via any web browser. So you don't actually have to be on the device or access some other folder. One of the major important things that I think a lot of people have asked for is the ability to compress projects in the cloud. And so even if you're not using our portal as the place for sharing, even just offloading the compression of it and then moving the video files after the fact to where you want them to go. That way you don't have to wait for it to happen on the device. Okay, let me try this now. Sorry, you've been seeing the top of my head for moments here.
No worries.
Okay, so here we go. Go ahead, Greg.
So one, if you're talking about the idea of kind of letting the portal do the heavy lifting of the conversion of the file, would you be able to grab that and pull it back down to your iPad as video, or would that only be something you can do on a computer later, is download the video from the portal?
Downloading the video from the portal. So I'm logged in now. So if I wanted to be, are you saying, is it my own content or is it somebody else's?
So it's your content. You sent it up as a project, had the portal do the compression. Will it like send you the file, send you a notification, or you just check back later and say, oh, it looks like the compression's done. Now I can just grab it because my iPad, I've been doing other things for the past 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, and if you can see my screen, right now I'm on the web browser view, and I'm looking at a project where I can actually download the movie file, or I could download the project. So right there, I have the choice to do both.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's the question you're asking.
Yeah, exactly. Like free the iPad up, in between classes or while you're writing a paper or whatever it is that you're doing, and then just go grab it later. Is there any sort of notification mechanism built into it? Like, hey, your file's ready, go check it out.
In early versions of that, we had that where it was almost just this like compression concierge. But then the amount of emails that would need to be sent out would be many, and in general, it's pretty fast.
Right.
Unless you've got this monster project, and there's 10 million people uploading 10 million monster HD 30-minute
right
4K video files. Usually in a matter of minutes, it's done because it's being done by proper computer servers as opposed to a very weak Chromebook processor or something like that.
So I encourage you to bring back the elite concierge status, and maybe you could send the personal emails out to people as well when their project is ready.
Yeah, or we can just make it an option, so in your account settings, notify me.
Yeah.
If I've uploaded a project, notify me. That would probably be pretty easy, but just maybe we wouldn't make it the default.
Right.
Something like that. Some of the other things. Oh, this is a free account. No wonder I can't add anyone. So one of the things that we've done is add, from a licensing perspective, these things called group accounts or group EDU accounts, where one person could be the kind of purchase point, but then can add sub accounts where the users don't need to enter an email address or any payment stuff like that, and those can be kind of revoked or redistributed. We picked 30. I mean, 30 is like a semi-arbitrary number, but we just think it's round enough. 20 seemed too little. 40 seemed too high. So 30, and for bigger institutions, we're doing the pricing in tiers of 30, but you can still decide within however many seats you have how you assign and distribute those, whether you have groups and subgroups or subgroup administrators, or one single point and many sponsored users underneath. We're really trying to make it as flexible for as many different types of institutional configurations as there are, and also knowing that there are many people who use many different types of platforms or don't have access to certain device management tools that, at least for using Explain Everything, the solutions we're offering there are pretty compatible and flexible.
So quick question, and it just popped up through my Twitter stream, is a question about, is the pricing model in place, or is it really going to be determined based on that location and what those users' needs are, or is it going to be kind of this universal pricing model?
I mean, the pricing model is already established, and that's available if you went to if you go to discover.explaineverything.com. I mean, the actual content portal itself is live and available everywhere. And you'll actually see content there and information about the the way the model and distribution works. And I don't want this to turn into a sales type thing. So I think people who are interested in getting down to the nitty gritty, that they can contact through those back end channels and have a much more specific conversation. Because I think a lot of times the answer is, well, here's how you do it. Well, it depends, and we like to learn about the situation and provide the best kind of guidance. So people can certainly also just find the information that they need and get going without needing to make contact with someone.
To go back to like the kind of the core nature of the tool, that it's the live collaboration between multiple users. Anyone who has the app installed can work collaboratively with another person that has the collaborative whiteboard app installed, but you don't even necessarily have to deal with, or you wouldn't have to go the route of the Discover portal.
Correct. You don't, besides just having an account registered, which you do need to have in order to use the collaboration, because it needs to have a name associated with the user. There's like you can decide, you can almost do this like mini a la carte, though you don't get to change the pricing because you still have access to everything. But if the whiteboard and the collaboration are the things that you need, then you're not forced to use the portal.
Gotcha.
Same way as like if you're like, oh, the whiteboard and the portal is right now what I need or my institution needs. Well, great, you can do that, and then we hope that you'll start we hope that the collaboration will be useful to you. And for some people, the collaboration is the thing that's solving their most immediate need, a way for people to be able to whiteboard and jot down notes and thinking together at the same time.
Right. So, I mean, I really think like I even need some time to like wrap my thinking around like what do you do with it, and I'm wondering if it's even going to be used less with the recording tool and more as a collaborative planning, brainstorming, a space where multiple students can work on problems in different, almost like different frames or canvases within one slide even.
Yeah, and again, that's where it might start. In the same way that I've seen people's initial introduction to screencasting as a practice is to think about those asynchronous direct instructions for making remedial or supplemental or replacement video content for supporting instruction. And then the next step is saying, well, oh, if I can share thinking this way, now let me have my students start to share their understanding in these kind of polished videos. Then it evolves from there. It's like, oh, well, the polish isn't so important. What if we do this more frequently and it's just kind of a way to share thinking? And so I think layer by layer, as people understand what's technically possible and learn about interesting use cases that align with their kind of belief, practice, or understandings, then I can see it goes from there. I mean, I still think, almost 5 years later, we're Explain Everything, there are people still discovering and sharing new cool uses that we never thought of, just because, they've got this creative bent, or like, oh, I could do this. And then all of a sudden it's like, yes, that is awesome.
That's fantastic. So I don't know, we've probably about 40 minutes in right now. I don't know if there's any other kind of key ideas you wanted to point out, or just kind of like wrap up what any next steps people need to take, or what the plan is moving forward with the collaborative side of the tool.
Yeah, so people can oh, did my screen just turn white? It did. Let me
yes, we have a nice fresh white template.
Yes, that is not the design.
Okay, there we go, you're back.
Okay, and now so anyway, next steps would be like to just keep an eye on Explain Everything on Twitter or the website or just your general networks to see if when the release happens. It should be soon. That's all I can promise. Oh, look, I've been informed that I'm no longer an expired trial. So here's that's a very poorly drawn 3. Let me just walk you through the export process here. So in the export menu, as a video, PDF, you'll see all the kind of destinations, etc. But the first one is just upload this project, and I could change some of the metadata here if I want, or I just hit publish, and then it's gone. It's done. And now when I go on to Discover, or I check it in my Discover projects, I might have actually hit cancel there. It'll be there. So one of our hopes was that people who are working on a bunch of stuff and then all of a sudden there's 2 minutes left in class and nobody has time to share it off as a movie file or render it or anything, that this will solve a lot of that. But it is, in order to make that kind of experience happen, it does now require computing off of the iPad to do that kind of behind the scenes work for you.
Right. And once it's in the portal, is there going to be a link associated with every project? Like, will there be a sub page for each project, or is it just a file up there that someone would have to go grab, or could I share with a link?
There's a bunch of ways. So every project has a unique URL. It also is given a 6-digit code. So this way, one thing I didn't point out is we've got this kind of magic. Oh, you can't see it. Let me switch back. We've got this, the above the gear, the settings, this like magic code entry point. So if I enter the code of a project, I can be taken to it for downloading a copy or just viewing, or if somebody's invited me to join their account because they bought a group thing and they're sponsoring me, and a bunch of potential other future uses. That's something that could be entered here. From Discover, you can also generate an embed code. So if you're sharing it via a blog or some other thing, you could do that without needing to self-host the actual MP4 file.
Gotcha.
You just drop in, very standard embed code. So there's really, when the Discover portal is used in that way, there's a bunch of flexible options that are really designed around our file format, so that you don't have to invent a bunch of many multiple click workarounds, because even things like Google Drive, for people who use that in their workflow, Google updates things, and all of a sudden we sometimes have to play catch up. Or I heard that Google updates its software every like 2 or 3 days on the back end, and then then the iOS apps that need a lot more time to kind of catch up have all of these versions of just the general Google software to catch up with, and all of a sudden OpenIn doesn't work anymore properly, and then
right, exactly,
and then you have to have some other workaround. So again, Google Drive is amazing for what it can do, but we're designing a solution that's really made around our project type content and the ways that we've seen people use it.
Fantastic. So I think that covers it. Yes.
I think so. I'm sure I've probably raised more questions than I've answered well.
So I think what everyone, people that are interested, keep an eye on the App Store. Wait to see it till that Explain Everything collaborative whiteboard, and it'll have that white icon to differentiate it from the kind of the legacy version. Correct?
That's correct. And I wouldn't even, at least at this point, call it a legacy version of the interactive whiteboard. Right now, there'll just be 2 apps, and
okay. And they'll stay independent, and then the one that schools have now that's already in place, that one will continue to be updated and develop and grow as a standalone tool separate from the new application.
That's correct. On Windows, Android, and Chrome, it's those which are still the whiteboard. The real-time collaboration doesn't exist on those yet, but the portal integration does, and those are all rolled into the license model. So regardless of your platform, one license, and you can use it across all those things. Just because we also found out that there aren't great deployment models, at least for software like ours, on those other platforms. So we almost had to invent one.
Right. Well, this was fantastic. I'm thrilled with the prospect of what people are going to be able to create. I can't wait to see what people are going to start making with this. I can't wait to start, working with people as well and seeing what we can, create with multiple users on one project at the same time in that synchronous project. So I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us for ETT Chat. Reshan, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to kind of demo this afternoon. Like we said, the video is going to be shared through the EdTech Teacher blog, the EdTech Teacher website, Google Plus page, Twitter profile. So you can pass this archive along to any friends. Join us next week. I'll be hosting next week's ETT Chat. We're going to stick with the theme of collaboration. Any parting words before we leave this afternoon, Reshan?
Yeah, just like you, I'm very excited to see what people do. I'm excited about the ability for people to share and remix ideas. So, not to, replicate content or be like, oh, somebody else did the work, I don't have to, but rather to see things and get inspired and deconstruct and be like, I want to know how they do that. Now I can look at something and build my own learning as I try to help lead the learning of others.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks again. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye-bye.